What's the word, family, man? Peace and blessings. I hope everybody's having a safe, productive, blessed Friday. I hope the vibes are running strong today. I wanted to make a video while I'm vibrating high. I'm outside, I'm catching some vitamin D, outside with nature. Very, very, very tapped in. But really quick, I wanted to talk about an important topic, something that I've been had on my mind for a while. And the reason why I decided to make a video about it was because I give other people the idea to talk about it, or I see content on it. So I wanted to give my perspective on it and my angle, so my community understands it and how to move it and just plot around it. But the topic is called survival mode. So if you ever heard of that, right, or if you're familiar with it, or more importantly, if you're not and you don't understand what survival mode is, the importance of why I want to make a video on it is to explain why first of all, why it's so critical to acknowledge and be aware of it, so you know how to maneuver if you find yourself in it, or if you've been, for lack of better terms, if you've been moving your whole life with a mindset of survival mode. I want you guys to understand what that means. I want you guys to understand that there's a way to get out of survival mode, right? It's kind of like understanding the difference between operating from a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, right? So survival mode, the first time I realized that I was in survival mode, because I've been operating out of survival mode my whole life. And the reason why was because, based on my circumstances, based on my environment, and based on ultimately all my decisions, and me not being educated or aware, survival mode is something that could be passed down from generation to generation. Because at the end of the day, our ancestors, they had to operate out of survival mode. They didn't know any better. If they made one mistake, one fuck up, they died, right? So survival mode is just understanding that, at least in my eyes, there's a certain amount of things holding you from operating out of a growth mindset, out of an abundance mindset. For example, if you live check to check, or if all you do is go to work, you get up, you go to sleep, you go to work, you get up, you work, you sleep. If that's your constant cycle, and you don't have any visions for the future, or not even just that, you're stressed and you can't seem to find the time and energy to make plans for the future. That's what I would consider survival mode. And I first found out I was in it back in 2020. This was when I was finally getting out of the military. I was firing the military, right? So as I was getting out, I noticed that my whole life, back in 2020, I was 21 or 22, 21. And back in 2020, I was finally getting out, but I finally seen that. I'm like, oh shit, like my source of income is about to come to an end, right? So it's like I have to figure out how I'm going to maintain myself, sustain a cool lifestyle for me, a lifestyle that I like, while not stressing, while being able to plot my next move. Because people kept asking me like, yo, what's next for you? You're getting out the military, what are you about to do? And for me, I'm the type of person that I like to keep the posture and the mindset and just the aura of like, I got it figured out. But at the end of the day, nobody has it all figured out, right? So when I was first getting out, I'm like, maybe I need to do some major adjusting. I had to realign my paradigm, realign my habits and my mindset to what I was about to embark. But the moral of it is, I had to really think about, okay, how much in California, because that's where I was at the time, in California, how much do I need to sustain my lifestyle? How much do I need to get an apartment and pay rent, food, gas, utilities, all the important things, right? So in the bigger picture for my community, when we're talking about survival mode, I want you to think about how much is your monthly, everything that you do on a monthly basis, how much does that come up to, right? So for example, if your rent, your food, your bills, everything comes up to $1,500, that is pretty much your baseline. That's your survival mode baseline. Because if you don't have any businesses, if you don't have any other streams of income, if all you rely on is your job and all you do is work and provide for yourself and for your family, if you have one, right? That is your survival mode. That is your baseline, right? All you know is I need to make 1,500. In California, it was probably more, right? But all you know is I need to make X amount for me not to be stressed out. For me to know that myself, my spouse, my kids, or whatever the case may be for you, we're going to be all right, right? So as long as you meet that quota, as long as you meet that baseline, you know you're going to be good. But we want to be more than good, right? So getting out of survival mode, in my eyes, is learning a skill set or taking a course or getting some mentorship from somebody that's doing something that you want to do. Ultimately, the goal is understanding your baseline and superseding that, making more than that, right? Because once you exit out of survival mode, now you have the mental capacity, now you have the energy, and now you have the vision to take steps and plan out for the future. See, because when you're in survival mode, you can only plan your very next move. You're check to check. You're stressed out. So it's not that much you can really do. But once you finally exit out survival mode, now you can think about, okay, boom, what's my next moves for the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, year, 5 years, 10 years? What do I want my future to look like? And you can start planning that. You can start molding yourself, your actions, your habits to become and to get one step closer to achieving that vision. You're out of survival mode. You're no longer just living to survive. That's when people say, people say, I'm just living, or it's just another day. Like, we're not supposed to be just living. We're not put here to just live. We're put here to thrive, not just survive. So when you finally get out of survival mode, now you find yourself thriving. Now you find yourself making the connections that you need. Now you find yourself making the moves that you need, and you don't have to think about like, dang, can I make this purchase or can I make this investment without stressing out, right? If I make this purchase, is this gonna put me behind my baseline? Am I not gonna meet my quota for this month, right? And there's a lot of people out here, especially in my community, the Black and brown, the Puerto Rican community, that, maybe we're not aware of what survival mode is, and we're just operating out of fear. And when you operate out of fear, you're constantly worrying. You have anxiety. You have to be conscious of what you're doing, right? If you have a family, there's certain moves you can't make, and that probably comes at your mental, because now you can't really fulfill what your purpose is for your family or for yourself, right? So it's super critical. I want to keep it super short, but I want you guys to really think about what does survival mode mean to you. To me, it meant that, like, bro, if I don't make this $1,500 a month, $2,000 a month, I'm gonna be stressed the fuck out. I might lose my car. I might not eat, which I had to skip a couple meals, or I might get kicked out. I might not have a place to stay, and that's another story for another day, right? But to me, man, like, we have to understand that when we come together and we're able to partner up with different people, and we're able to think out of a growth mindset, out of an abundance mindset, and we're no longer worried about where that next meal is going to come from, where that next dollar is going to come from. That's powerful. And that's why you have people like Jeff Bezos, like Elon Musk, the 19 Keys, the Wall Street trappers that I follow, right? That's why you have these people making these type of moves. Everybody starts with their own journey. I can't speak for where they came from, but they're at a place now where they can thoughtfully take their time and energy and plan out 5, 10, 15 years from now. They can plan trips, no stress. They can cut a check, no stress. And I feel like that's what we were all meant to do, is come from a place where we can make plans and there's no obstacles or hurdles. If there are obstacles or hurdles in front of us, we jump through them with ease because we've been through it before. We overcame it, and now we know that we could thrive. It's not about surviving anymore. And that's super important for me and my family, is to understand that mindset, that's something that could be tweaked. That's a paradigm that could be shifted. And once you operate out of faith and not fear, and you finally overcome that mindset, that check to check, the world just opens up to you. You know, opportunities just flow towards you. And you can finally start seeing life for what it is. It's such a beautiful thing where we literally mold it. But when we're operating out of survival mode and stress and fear, everything is happening to us. Once you start shifting that mindset and you start making the proper plans and the proper actions to get out of that survival mode, you start noticing that life is actually happening for you. And everything is getting you ready for that next challenge, right? So, survival mode, as fast as you can. Everybody's going through something, but make sure you're taking the time to be aware, be conscious of your decisions. How much longer do you want to stay in survival mode? And how fast do you want to get out of it? Because it's all possible. The information is out there. The skill sets can be attained. Right? If I'm doing it, you could definitely do it too. But man, aside from that, that was the message for the day, man. I appreciate you guys tapping in. Go out there, get you some sun. Go be grateful for the ones around you. Build those connections that you need. Keep getting that information, but not only seeking it, also executing on it and taking action on it, right? Believe in yourself. And the last thing I'll say is, if you don't quite believe in yourself yet, borrow my belief, because I believe in you. All right? Peace, family.